Yes, my friends, I say, welcome to another edition of the Sosobone Media Network Community Update, an archive of our diaspora and our contributions and commitment to our community and to our people. My name is Trevor Smith, and my special guest this morning is none other than Dr. Trevor Dixon of the JAH Foundation. So I'm going to say, Dr. Dixon, welcome to the Sosobone Media Network. Welcome to the SoSoFat channel as we engage our diaspora this morning with information and an update on the performance and the contributions and our involvement with our community through the JAH Foundation. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Trevor Smith. Thank you for having me on. And your name is Trevor, my name is Trevor. So we're going to call this edition Trevor Squared.
Yes. Yes. You know, over the last, 15 years at least, I should say, you have played an intimate role, I would say, in addressing some of the grassroots things that we talk about. And you have established, I would say, a channel where it is now expected that the things that you do will create footprints, you know, for other diaspora and engagement. The JAH Foundation, give us a short update on the JAH Foundation, how it came about, how it got its name, and who are the founders of this amazing foundation.
Thank you, Trevor. As you know, my name is Dr. Trevor Dixon. I'm the CEO. I'm the founder and the CEO of the JAH Foundation.
Yes.
Like all great things in life, it didn't start out as the JAH Foundation. It started out from a kid that grew up in Christiana, Manchester, who migrated to East Flatbush, Brooklyn, and
Okay.
who looked back over his shoulders. You know, whenever I went back home and I saw my friends and my family, I missed Jamaica as a child, you know. And as I traveled through East Flatbush, Brooklyn, and you're familiar with East Flatbush, Brooklyn.
Very much. I used to live right off Atkins Highway and over there.
Yes, I was in the heart of East Flatbush. I lived on off Church Avenue and East 45th.
Yeah.
So, and we say this to say that if you live in East Flatbush, Brooklyn as a Jamaican, there's no way you're going to lose your Jamaican-ness.
Not at all.
Right, because every other business is usually owned by a Jamaican or has a Jamaican working in it. So,
Yes.
and even the entrepreneurs, the businessmen in the community, even if they weren't Jamaican, you walk into their establishment, they say, what, man? They realized that the Jamaican culture was very strong in East Flatbush.
Yes, yes, yes. Well,
So that's where God chose to immerse me, and that's where I got most of my education from. And I say education in both a formal sense and an informal sense. I went to all the local schools in East Flatbush. I went to public school, PS 135, Winthrop Junior High School, Wingate High School, all the
okay.
way up to New York City Technical College, downtown Brooklyn.
Mhm.
And then I later went on to Downstate University, which is across the street from Kings County. So, you know, when I say I'm a Brooklyn kid, I could honestly say, besides being from Christiana, Manchester, a lot of my formative years were in Christiana, but then I came here and got the rest of my education in East Flatbush, Brooklyn. Yeah. So I'm a Brooklyn kid. So being immersed in my culture and being proud of who I am as a Jamaican. And in East Flatbush, you don't have to assimilate. You don't try to assimilate in East Flatbush because everybody is Jamaican. Everybody wants to be Jamaican, even if they're not Jamaican. So.
Exactly, exactly.
So I think I had that advantage. So I was very close to my culture. My father, you know, my father traveled many seas. He was a policeman in Jamaica. He later went on to England to be a bus driver, which was very common back in the days in Birmingham, England. And then he came to the United States. But I know I was actually the only child that was born in Jamaica. I was born in Christiana, Manchester. And my father used to, you know, he saw the ills that was going on in East Flatbush, and he says, "Boy, but worst thing I could ever do, I make you born in Jamaica," because he saw how strong I held on to my Jamaican culture. So, it's a long story. And I mean, as a John Ho song go, it's a long story. So, um, I'm just here to say that I'm grateful for where I'm at right now. And um, what you see here today is not just someone who just hurry come up. It was God was intervening every step of the way. He placed me in certain environments. He placed me in certain darkness to strengthen me so that when he was ready for me to help and serve my people, I'll be strong and resilient. And that's who you see sitting here, Dr. Trevor Dixon.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, it is strange that when you look at the leadership that we have in our community, there's always this strong connection where they come from in Jamaica and how it has traveled with them across the waters, the many rivers they have crossed. But there are many people that we look at as icons in our community. And when you listen to the story, you get a great appreciation from where they germinated.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And that is something that has been revealed to me on many occasions. And when you find that you start something from inside, we say the organic part of our community,
Amen. Yes.
that is, you're not on the outside looking in and throwing things like doing surf fishing. No, you're right there riding the waves with them as you are bailing water. Okay. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I give another example of that. I grew up on East Flatbush, as I said, and I love music. And when I say I love music, I love music. On the corner of my block was a sound system back from East Flatbush called Sir Tommy's Hi-Fi. And my father knew I loved music. He couldn't keep me away from the music.
uh-huh.
And he allowed me to hang out with Tommy, Sir Tommy's, because Tommy was a carpenter in the daytime and he's played his sound system at night. And
DJ. Mhm.
yes, yes, yes. So, he was one of the leading sound system in Brooklyn. So I would hang out with Tommy. And then after that, my father said, you know what, this boy have a lot of energy. I'm going to have to find him a job. And at 13 years old, I had my first job. I was working in a bakery in East Flatbush called St. Jago Bakery, right?
Uh-huh.
And that bakery is not a buck-up name, that's St. Jago Bakery. That gentleman was from Spanish Town.
Listen. We're all familiar with these companies that comes to United States, and every one of them have to name their business of some place in
Where you
Jamaica.
from?
Okay, so
Right,
so,
right,
so that's not strange to us or to our diaspora. We
right,
recognize our Caribbean and our Jamaican business by the names: Blue Mountain, Notre Race,
right.
Tower Isle,
Duns River.
Dodge River. Okay,
Yeah,
so that is how the culture has really stamped itself, not only on us as who came here as first generation immigrants, but
right.
also our children who are grows up going to these very same places that is so familiar now to them that they can relate to them.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. It's amazing you should say that because my children were born here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm so strong and I love my country, so every vacation they go back home to look for
Yes.
grandpa in Jamaica. And
Mm-hmm.
and we've been to other places. We've been to California. And when I ask my children at 15 and 16 now where they want to go for vacation, it's
Yeah.
Jamaica for them every time. And
Right.
that goes to show as immigrants or first generation, second generation, we owe it to our children to bring them back to the foundation, that which is them, what's in their DNA, and it'll always be Jamaica, Jamaica first.
Yes. And simultaneously in the process of doing that, we hope that when we have done our part
Right.
in managing and I would say
Instill it,
examining
instill it. Yes, yeah.
the needs of our country, we will have our children following in our footsteps. So
Yeah.
that was well said. I know they will understand because I like to say that the things that we do here is a production. And when they're finished, they will have a clear understanding of why we do what we do, not so much as a presentation, but as a learning and as a teaching device. So again, I thank you so much for that you know, clear, I would say, showing of where you come from.
Yes.
Okay, just like when we talk about Bob Marley. where he came from, and that grassroots of our culture from across the world, clearly connected with him. Okay. He was not born out of the flock, he was born within the flock. So thank you so much. So let us take a quick look now at the performance of the JAH Foundation since you found it, and tell us how many years ago you have been carrying this torch.
Well, I graduated from not just medical school but from training, my residency. I graduated in 2006. And 2007, I hit the concrete and I went down to Jamaica because I always go back to Jamaica on vacation. And I was sitting with one of my wife's friends. His name is Lyndon Williams. He's a proprietor in Kingston. He owns a couple of stores in Kingston. And her schoolmate from not really Holy Childhood, but her schoolmate from St. Cecilia. It's a preparatory school in Kingston. They were very close, like sisters. And on vacation, I used to go to Kingston and stay with the family. And I said to her husband, I said, I want to know what Kingston Public Hospital look like, And let's say, his wife looked at me and says, "Oh, you're not going to take him down there, right?" And thank God, sometimes the people who encourage you is those that you remember along the journey. And then said, "Of course, I'm going to take him down there." And while he was going to his business on Monday morning, this is 2007. I remember I just graduated from training in 2000.
Yes.
2007. He took me down to the Kingston Public Hospital, and he was going to work. He dropped me off right there. He said, "Okay, I know you, Trevor. You'll find your way around." He left me in front of the Kingston Public Hospital. As an emergency physician, that's what I'm board certified in emergency medicine. So I walked into the Kingston Public Hospital, like we as doctors, when it comes to emergency room, if we know how to get into an emergency room. There's a lot of police officers there, with M16 guns and things of that sort, mobile reserve guys there. And they let me inside. I showed them my ID. It says, I want to talk to whoever was running the hospital. They let me in and they walked me into Dr. Wong, Dr. Hugh Wong. This is 2007, 2008. This is almost, 16, 17 years ago? I don't want to say how many years ago, close to 20 years now.
Yes, going on.
Yes. And I met Dr. Wong, and Dr. Wong looked me up and down. Dr. Wong said, "Oh," and I love Dr. Wong because he's cut of the same fabric as I am. So that feistiness, Dr. Wong said, "Oh, you're one of them doctors from New York who come and make big promises and people don't see you again." Dr. Wong don't recall, but I know he knows. Yeah. He doesn't recall, but he knows his personality, and he knew that was something that he would probably say. And I said, no. You know what? And that's a very interesting statement that he made, because it so served me twofold when he said that. Number one, it said to me, this man is a real deal. He's going to tell you straight. Yeah. And number two, it held my feet to the fire to say, you know what? Don't just come here. Yeah. Don't just come in here and have big talk, and then you get caught up in the things of the world and you forget where you came from. So that served twofold. And as they would say in life, and the rest is history. Yeah.
Well, it is strange that you actually use an example of Dr. Wong. And I say this because, I had a think tank with some of our people in the diaspora, Philip Bedward and Paulette Willoughby and Dr. Nelson. At different times, we used to be talking things through. And every time it was a discussion about our community and about Jamaica. And we always sit and even as we appreciate so much what is being done, we still look back on each other and say, but that's a Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid. And so when we leave, the situation does not change long-term, or it is not remembered long-term, and there's no expectations that there's going to be continuation. So yes, we have a good history, of visiting our high schools that we come from, primary schools, meet the principal and promising to do something. And even as we do follow through, we recognize that it's a band-aid.
Absolutely.
But like this,
Yeah.
like the springs or the seasons change from spring to summer to autumn to winter. JAH Foundation has become a cycle. So an expectation has been built in. Okay. So now we say that, yes, they might not be here every year and every day or every month or every week, but the expectation and the knowledge is that, as Dr. Wong says, you're not one of those who are going to come and make these and disappear. Okay. And you have shown that now by the consistency that we recognize with the JAH Foundation. I just want to interrupt you and commend you on that before I miss that thought. Okay.
It takes resilience,
Yeah.
I'm saying this journey has been a journey of resilience because
Yes.
as you know, with Jamaica, you probably don't remember this, but over 10 years ago, you called me up when I was in Brooklyn. I think you spoke to Andrea,
Of course I
Andrea,
remember.
Andrea from Team Jamaica Bickley. And you
Yes.
said, I have these beds here at a nursing home that we're trying to get to Jamaica. And
Yes.
and would you like to come and get the beds, And what I told you, Trevor, I said, boy, Trevor, I want to take the bed then, but
You don't have a place to keep it.
not only the place to keep it, forget this to Jamaica, the hurdles I'm gonna have to jump through to get these beds to Jamaica, it's really disgusting.
Yes.
You understand me? When you
Yes.
want to help and do good, the amount of red tape, the amount, and many of it still exists, Trevor, as you know,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yes.
I heard a story, and this is a true story of I'm not political in any way, shape, or form. But
Mhm.
when you come to this country and you see the wealth of this country, you
Mhm.
can't help but say to yourself, wow, what if,
What if?
what
Yes.
if Jamaica just had half of this? What if?
Yes.
And the hurdles that one has to climb and jump to make it happen is humanly impossible to make it happen. And I say this with a heavy heart. Michael Manley came here when he was sick one time many years ago,
Mhm.
and he was staying at one of those luxury hotels like the Roosevelt Hospital or one of those hospitals. Back in the days, where it was there.
Yes. Mhm.
And this is Stephanie Black shared this story. I don't know if you know who Stephanie Black is. She's a writer for the New York Times,
Mhm.
and she wrote the um, Life and Debt, the story of Jamaica and the IMF and all that. And she says Michael Manley came here and wanted to. He saw the beds in the hospital, and as he lay there sick, he said, "Wow, Jamaica could do well with many of these beds." And I think he was able to get some of those beds to Jamaica because, we're not a wealthy country in the sense of a wealthy country. We know Jamaica is wealthy, and
Yes.
we know where the wealth lies in Jamaica.
Of
But we're not
course.
here, we're not here to argue about people and their spoils of war and where they got it from and what they want to do with it. We're not here to argue with that. We're here to say that Jamaica is a rich country in many ways, and it's a poor country in so much more many ways,
Ye-
and and the story of the beds to the hospital is just one example. Why do we have to go through so much when people are willing to give so much to Jamaica that there isn't a real clear path
And,
to
and
help?
let me interrupt you by saying that God knows why I was in a position not only to detect, but to preserve. Because I think I stored those beds for about 3 or 4 months before you're able to
Mhm.
arrange shipment of
Mhm.
the beds to Jamaica.
Right.
Okay. So yes, every time we have a town hall meeting in our diaspora, whether it be with the Prime Minister when he comes visiting or with the Ministry of Health, the organizations will always raise this obstacle that we have to to give in to our people, to give in, not to sell in, not, to just to say, we would like to give something to our people. We see a situation that needs some help, And unfortunately, we have more roadblocks than when we try to drive from Kingston to Port Antonio.
Let me
Okay?
tell you something. Let me tell you something. You know, during COVID, of course, you know, I got tons of stuff. People gave me tons of stuff. Said, listen, Trev, this is COVID. Things were oversupplied and overordered. You know, would you
Yes.
like to bring this to Jamaica? And I tried.
Yeah.
Nothing. And the lady who owned the shipping company, she actually is from St. Lucia. She says, Dr. Dixon, can you please give them to me? Because I
Okay.
won't have any problem. And you
No
know what?
problem.
Not only did she bring them to the hospital in St. Lucia, but she showed me the stuff in use. Good
Yes.
stuff, good quality stuff. So I know it's not just a, a broad diaspora problem. It's a Jamaica problem.
Yes.
We have so little trust in one another. Okay, there's so much corruption and there's so little trust in one another that they don't even care. They don't care. I
And
don't
and 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 without, as I said, most people understand that my position is an analyst on the platform. So I really don't criticize. I point out and then I ask for the, and I will mention a solution so
know.
that, you know, and I say this because we are in the habit of electing diaspora leadership or representative in our various demographics, Northeast, Southeast, East, Midwest, whichever. And while this has been a problem from day one, going back from my days with from Irwin and Beckford and John Pinnock and Akeelia Lawrence and Karen and coming up to Michelle now, it is a problem that we consistently introduce and request some relief for from the various diaspora ministers that they put in place, and each one inherits the same problem and there is no solution.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is why I say that I wish that when they are electing a diaspora minister, they would get one that lives poorer, not someone that we have to call long distance by telephone to take a call from the diaspora. Because we talk about where we come from in Jamaica and where we evolved from in our diaspora. Yes, we are flatbush people. Okay, we're not living out in Poughkeepsie or out in the tip of Long Island. Okay, we are among our people and we feel the pain every time there's an hurricane in Jamaica. We feel pain because the pain comes across the waters to us. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that because I identified very early in my medical career that there was a problem going on because I used to work at Kings County Hospital. This is not hearsay.
Mhm.
I used to work in Kings County Medical Center in East Flatbush off Clarkson Avenue. And as you know, that's a major hospital in the city of New York.
Mhm.
And it doesn't just serve Jamaicans, it serve Hispanics, it serves whites, it serves everybody. And we used to see patients come up from Jamaica with fibroids the size of a basketball, which,
Oh,
which
Lord.
which tells you that this didn't happen yesterday.
Right.
This didn't happen last week. And some of these folks have been on the list to get these operations done for years.
Mhm.
And some family members, those are the ones that are fortunate who are able to come up here, get a visa to come up here and and get the surgery. But so what happens if you don't get the surgery? If you don't get the surgery, they can't function as normal human beings. Let's just say that first of all, because the fibroid tumor sucks all the blood out of their body, which means a woman's supposed to have a hemoglobin of 10, 11. Their hemoglobin is sometimes 3, 4, which is not even compatible with life. So you can imagine the quality of life. So some people may say, oh, yes, it's just fibroid. Everybody have fibroids. No, it's a very serious tumor that compromises somebody's daily activity. So it is an emergency. It's a health emergency. And there are women right now in Jamaica, lots of them, on list to have fibroid surgery, and some of them will die before they have it. So, it's not just a disease that you say, oh man, everybody have disease. Everybody have to live with this and that and that. Some things are just incomprehensible that people are living and functioning with that in a society, and they can't get the medical care to have these tumors relief. And I'm not saying the government hasn't tried to fix this problem. They had a drive not too long ago where they have medical missions to Jamaica for surgeons to come down there and operate. This was during the COVID, plus or minus before and after COVID. And the problem still exists, like you said, when you put in Band-Aid in a problem, you can't really expect to do it. But I will admit, you mentioned something earlier. You mentioned Erwin Clear, and I must say that Erwin Clear has been one of my mentors, so to speak, very early in this journey when it comes to the diaspora, because I didn't know anything about the Jamaica diaspora. I didn't know anything about the Consul General office down in Manhattan. I knew nothing of these things. I go down there to get my passport, and that's all I knew. But when Erwin Clear took me under his guidance, I would say, and he explained to me, he says, Dr. Dixon, all you have to do is one thing, okay? Just attack those low-hanging fruits. You know, forget about
Yes.
the bureaucracy, the policy of it all, So
Yes.
we attack low-hanging fruits. So what does that mean for me? I mean, attacking low-hanging fruits. It means I have very little interaction with Jamaica's government, so to speak.
Yes.
I don't go there trying to make policy changes or trying to see. All I do is just if I work directly, I'm blessed. I can work directly with the physicians in the Kingston Public Hospital Emergency Department. I can work very closely with the physicians in Percy Jr., in Spalding, Clarendon over there, whether it's Anata Bay or whether it's Port Maria, whether it's Noel Holmes or Falmouth. I can go directly to these physicians and say, what do you need so when you can function from day to day? We're not talking about nothing tremendous. So
Right.
I am blessed. God has put me, He has walked me through this journey to see what Jamaica is. I live in East Flatbush. I know what Jamaicans are. I know when Jamaica come off Jamaica, I know exactly what's going on in Jamaica. I don't have to go to Jamaica to know what's going on in Jamaica. And so Erwin said, attack the low-hanging fruits. And that's what we've been doing for the past 20, going on almost 20 years now. We've attacking low-hanging fruits. We don't look for trying to change any policies.
Yes.
Every project we do in Jamaica, we don't just go and do medical missions, Mr. Smith. We're not about doing medical missions. Medical missions for us is just a fact-finding trip. And once we find the facts, because when you're on the ground, you see the facts.
Huh.
People can tell you that there's no wait time in the emergency room, but when you go down in the emergency room, you see the wait time,
Oh, oh, oh.
I'm just saying,
I've
So
heard the
I'm just
story.
saying, we are blessed in the sense that JAH Foundation, we are what we say, we're not in a whole about chattings. We know what's going on the road because we're on the road and we see that the doctors need this to function. The doctor need that to function. We put it in our suitcase and we carry it to the doctor and they say, oh my God, thank you.
Right.
So what are these, we went to one particular hospital and trauma. We know trauma. I'm at Jacoby Medical Center in the Bronx. That's the #1 trauma center in the Bronx. And I know trauma. So I know what doctors need. Simple things. I'll give you simple things. When a patient comes into the emergency room and that patient, you need to remove the clothes in a very quick time. Remove the clothes, expose the patient so you can see where the injuries are, so you can
Yes.
stop the bleed.
Yes.
Okay.
Same process. Same
Right.
process
If
across.
you if you see what the doctors are using to cut off the clothes in Jamaica, it tells you the tale.
Oh my.
When I hear to criticize Jamaica's government, so I don't argue with nobody. All my volunteers during the COVID mission, all my volunteers brought at least 4 or 5 trauma shears, you call them, to shears to take off the clothes.
Just to cut
And
away clothing.
and we gave it to those physicians at the Savannah Public Hospital. Don't ask me, go ask them,
You know,
right?
I like the examples that because they are so relatable. I went through certain things along with the sports platform that I used to also support in Jamaica, Caribbean Cup soccer, bringing up the kids in the summer to play soccer up here. Parents will be begging us to bring up their child. But one of the things we also did was we had a soccer team in St. Thomas that we sponsored. And Jetty and Robbie, they were the coach and the trainer for the team. And then on one occasion, they were 2 games away from being upgraded to the Premier League. And Jesse was so excited for the players. And I decided, okay, no, and we made an investment and we bought them full professional
Uniform.
gear. shirts and shorts, and those guys were some of them wearing boots for the first time. For the
Mhm.
first time, they're wearing boots because boots are expensive in Jamaica.
Yes, 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 yes.
And they played the match, and at halftime, the striker had 3 goals. And Jetty said, Trevor, can you believe this?
Mhm.
The guy came to me and said, Coach, take me off of the field now, no man. He said, take you off the field. What's wrong with you? It's just half time. He said, Coach, me no want to mash up my boot.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow, wow,
You know,
wow,
yes. You can see that not only was you can
wow.
see the appreciation, but the
Yes,
respect for the gift.
yes, yeah, yeah,
I don't want to mash up my boots.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh, then when he moved to Port Antonio and he was at Carter Park, over there with another team that we were sponsoring. I said,
Mhm.
Jetty, what do you need? He said, Trevor, I got about 40 players. The biggest problem is ball time.
Mhm.
Ball time. When you
Yes.
have 2 balls and you have 40 players, they don't touch the ball.
Right, right.
You
Can you
know?
imagine things we don't think about? Yeah.
Yes. And the next time he went down, he took down 20 balls and it changed the whole symmetry,
Mhm.
you know? So I'm saying is yes, when you can really let people see the nitty gritty,
Yes,
okay, they will understand. And I'm
yes.
going to take a quick break to say to our viewers, scrolling across the screen is the Zelle account number for the JAH Foundation. So even as you watch this and you share it, please make a contribution to the JAH Foundation. Yes, Dr. Dixon, let's continue because that will be there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Trevor, when you interacting with folks, you can do many interviews. I've done many interviews, via Zoom and what have you.
Mm,
And this one can go on forever. You
yes.
understand? So I want to make sure that I am impactful to your audience and answer the questions that they want to know because this life journey is such a long life journey. And, we could be on here, Trevor, as you know, for days, probably talking about, our experiences and how it has shaped us. And I think the bottom line for me is when I came to the realization of what my purpose on this earth was for, and it was to serve others. And God is God is a funny God because he make it in such a way that no matter what talents he give you,
Man.
you can do what he wants you to do, which is to serve. No matter what talents he gives you,
Yes.
he give you the talent to somewhat help to preserve lives in some cases. Sometimes you cannot preserve life because that's God's role. But sometimes he gives you the time to be able to preserve life and to help people who are sick. But no matter what you do in life, he make it so simple that even the carpenter can serve God in his
Well,
way. So
well,
service is something that we all as human beings can do. Yeah.
I was doing a marketing video this morning. And just to put that in perspective, I say that some of us, we are all seeds. We all sow seeds and we're represented as a seed. And some of our seeds are like spinach and callaloo. They are sprints. You plant them today, you can reap. In a couple of weeks, you can go out there and reap. But some of us, like Dr. Dixon, they're planting coconut trees, okay? Okay. And yes, you have gainful employment in the planting of our coconut trees, and you have gainful employment in the nurturing and the fertilizing and the caring for the coconut trees. But down the road, that's a marathon. You don't get coconut and you don't get mango 2 weeks after you plant mango tree and you plant coconut tree. So some of us are, we are doing this deep planting and consistently watering. So
Yeah.
again, I'm going to say to our viewers, I call this a break, that you should all make a decision to make a contribution, and the telephone number that you see scrolling across the screen, that is Dr. Dixon's telephone number, so you can make a pledge, okay? And you want to go to sosofattv.com and subscribe, because the next time he's going down on a trip, we're going to send out a broadcast email to our subscribers, as well as we're going to be posting on LinkedIn a call for doctors across our diaspora to keep in touch with Dr. Dixon, so that when he's going down with a train. Okay, so yes, Dr. Dixon, let's continue here.
Yeah, January
Really, yes, so your next mission now coming up is?
January 27th.
Okay.
It's Monday to Monday, or from Sunday to Sunday, basically. Our volunteers, which is the core, that's the bone of our foundation. You talk about social bone.
Yes.
Our backbone of our foundation is our volunteers. And about 45 of them will be embarking in Jamaica to serve the people of Jamaica, to serve those who are in need. We know not every Jamaican has a need, but there are many of them out there who have the need, and that's our job, is to go out and to serve them. But before we even get into the mission, just to talk about, go way back to Dr. Wong now in 2008. As I was walking away out of the Kingston Public Hospital, Dr. Wong realized that. I handed him my card. I said, okay. He says, let me see if I'm going to see you again. I said, okay, sir.
Okay.
I handed him my card. And as I was walking away, him look at the card and say, hold on there, man. Hold on there. Come back here. I said, yes. Him say, you do ultrasound education? I said, yes, Dr. Wong. I have done ultrasound even before I went to medical school. Is your God work? God had me learn ultrasound before I went to medical school. Right at SUNY downstate in Brooklyn. A very small program. Nobody knew about the program. I buck up in the program. I live in East Flatbush and I buck up on the program. And when I went to classes at that program in East Flatbush, Brooklyn, at downstate, I'm the only person who came from Brooklyn. Right. So, we speak about this access to medicine, access to education, access to information. Thank God you're here now. You can provide access to information. But back in the days, we didn't have these mediums for access, which mean the community can gain from these different services. So that's a whole other story. But Dr. Wong identified that I had ultrasound training, and Dr. Wong says, hold on there, man, hold on there, come back here. And he looked at my card. He says, you know what? He scratched his head. He said, I don't believe this. I said, what's the matter, Dr. Wong? He says, we received 10 ultrasound machine through World Cup cricket. World Cup cricket was in Jamaica 2008, 2008. And, through that initiative, lots of money can influx into the country, right?
Yes.
Some of it are visible, some of it are not visible. And the National Health Fund was able to garner funds to buy equipment through the World Cup cricket initiative. And they bought 10 ultrasound machines that were distributed across the island. Of course, the World Cup cricket was held in Falmouth. So Falmouth got some, Montego Bay Hospital got some, KPH got some, places where they thought that if patients were injured, they would need to go to. And 10 machines were distributed on the island. And Dr. Wong says, we have these machines, but honestly, some of the training, we have a problem with the training of the people how to use these machines. Would you be willing to come down and train doctors how to use the ultrasound? Can you imagine that?
Yes. And I'm glad you mentioned cricket, because I'm sure that when my friend William Chambers and Dale Brown of the Cricket Hall of Fame up in Connecticut, when they watch this, I'm sure they'll be pleased to hear cricket being mentioned. The World Cup cricket is coming in 4 years to the Olympics, among other things. So that's part of the the programming that we're doing with John Sports Corner that comes out weekly on the Source of Fat television channel, to just to get this country I would say the only English-speaking country in the Western Hemisphere that does not really endorse cricket, because when they fought against the British, I guess the bats were thrown into
But let me just say this. If it wasn't for World Cup cricket, a lot of the ultrasound training that happens in Jamaica's public hospitals now with ultrasound in the emergency room, I can say that proudly.
Yes.
But for World Cup cricket, a lot of it would not have been happening now. So
Well,
cool.
I'm just
World Cup cricket.
I'm endorsing it so that maybe we can get another 40 or 50 after the next World Cup over here.
That's
So
right.
I'm putting it out there loud and clear for them to hear that World Cup cricket played a major role in contributing to our health system. And
Yes.
therefore, this is something that I hope to see repeated. And I want all of them to hear it loud and clear so that we do not say that, we did not know. You talk about access to information. Yes,
Right.
yes, very much. So,
Right. Yeah.
who are the
So
sponsors that you have on board with you this time as you plan this trip going down now?
well, that's why I mentioned the World Cup cricket and the ultrasound because
Okay,
the ultrasound program has been our staple. That's been the backbone of the JADA Foundation for many years.
okay,
Uh, we've trained over 500 doctors in the public hospitals in Jamaica how to use ultrasound in an emergency.
okay.
It's called the bedside ultrasound, critical care ultrasound. We have trained over 500 doctors in Jamaica's public hospital. And we particularly go to the public hospitals. We don't go to Andrews, we don't go to St. Joseph's. We go to
Mhm.
the place where healthcare is free. And the only people who are going to access free healthcare is people who can afford healthcare. And we make sure that when those patients come in a trauma, car accident, the ultrasound can be used to let the doctors know this patient may look good right now, but he's bleeding inside, so he needs to go to the theater right away. So that's what we've been doing. And what happened in about 2, 3 years ago, the technology in the ultrasound changed, where a lot of handheld devices were being used.
Yes, yes, yes.
And an organization, which you're probably familiar with, an organization of ex-ambassadors from Jamaica called
Mhm.
American Friends of Jamaica.
Yes, yes,
Another
yes,
organization,
uh-huh.
right? AFJ.
Yes.
If they recognized that the JADA Foundation was training physicians how to use ultrasound, and they said, "Hey, Dr. Dixon, would you like to collaborate with us?"
Mhm.
I said, "What is this collaboration about?" He says, "How would you like to be the primary person that train? We don't find it, we can't find it, we can buy these devices.
Mhm.
If we have nobody to train these doctors, then it's this mute. So would you be willing to train these doctors? We'll buy these devices and you'll train them how to use it. How much devices do you think you need?" And of course, I was
Yeah.
I was gonna just give my doctor a source of one.
No, 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 no.
So I made sure that even hospitals that you wouldn't think about would have devices now.
Yes.
We're talking hospitals like this year, Chapter 10 Hospital are gonna be getting one,
Solutions,
right?
not band-aid. Solutions.
Right. Port Maria, Port Antonia, all
Yes.
these hospitals now have handheld devices. So when you come into those emergency rooms, you can demand ultrasound. And Trevor Smith, do you know what an ultrasound costs in these private labs in Jamaica? On average, they cost about $5,000, and they're from
Oh,
$2,000 to $8,000, $5,000. Do you know what the average salary of a Jamaican working in Jamaica? What's the average salary per week is? Not to minus, not to minus the bus fare to get there.
listen, listen.
So, so when a patient has to choose between feeding their kids and getting
Uh-huh.
ultrasound, they're gonna say, you know what, I don't need this ultrasound right now. So we're putting it in the hand of these public hospitals so that they have the technology at the bedside, so that they don't have to send you outside for an outside lab
Yes,
to get an
yes.
ultrasound. That's the significance of the ultrasound program that we do in Jamaica.
Oh my goodness, we could be talking for the next 2 years. I remember when we had Ebola scare, during Obama's time in Jamaica.
Mhm.
And I sat down with Chris from the embassy, and Herman Lamont was consul general at the time.
I know
And we
it.
and we were stressing, of course. And that was when, the only solutions we saw were this handheld temperature checking machines for
I
people.
remember.
Yes. And that is when we made a decision that we were going to secure as much as we could. And what we got was only what was available. which were, we presented to the Consul General in New York at the time to send down to our Prime Minister so that they could have the ambulances and the things that were going out to pick up people, at least check them and, do accurate temperature check on them before they, along that line. So, yes, we see, we have a microscope, so we see things that I think other people don't see. Because the thing with serving a Dr. Dixon is this. When you lift up the carpet because you see one insect run underneath it.
Trevor, I'm going to give you a scenario, right? I'm going to give you a scenario, right? And we know, that's why we're so afraid. We know what can happen, and we know it will happen just a matter of time. What happened if a cruise ship comes into Falmouth and
there's a medical emergency?
Okay, right? And there are 50 people who are injured, right? How many of those patients are going to go to a hospital by ambulance? How many?
Well,
How many people? When they get to an emergency room, what will they feel?
Yes. Yes.
And then that's why I'm just going to put the question out there,
Yes.
We should have a healthy fear of
Yes.
that scenario. And that's a thrust in which I function because I know better. And God says, for those who know better,
do better.
You have to do better.
Do better.
So Trevor, if you ask me, how do I feel about what the JAH Foundation has done? I'm grateful, but there's so much more work that needs to be done.
Yes, and I'm going to say this to our viewers again. This is the Sermon on the Mount. You have all been listening, and along with you listening, we have 2 million of our friends and our family members down in Jamaica who are also watching, listening to the Sermon on the Mount. And at this moment, I can tell you this. We need 2 loaves and 5 fishes from you. We do that, and we will make it multiply. We're just asking you to donate 2 loaves and 5 fishes.
And guess what? Guess what, Trevor? Sometimes they don't have the 2 loaves and the 5 fish now, but sometimes them work for somebody who have the 2 loaves and the 5 fishes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Talk to them, bossy. If you care about me, if you say you care about me,
yes,
donate to the JAH Foundation because I know you're not going to Spanish Town Hospital, but I have to go.
Time and services and whatever, just donate.
If you can't donate, somebody who can donate.
Yes. Donate your time, share the information, make sure that it does not stop with you, that the seed that is being planted by Dr. Dixon this morning takes root. Go like the soil here and spread the seeds far and wide. Some are going to fall on the rock, some on good soil, some in the water. That is okay. Just spread the seeds. Okay.
Amen.
Let them know that we have a foundation here who has an interest in creating a legacy for you with the support you give from the diaspora. Like history record, okay, that we saw them drowning. And even though it was only a rope made of straw, but we still threw the rope at them because they had hope. Because I have said this on many occasions, that no matter how many times you never went to church, and no many times that you never prayed, when you find yourself in the pool drowning, you look up and you say, help. And you ask, why are you looking up? Why are you looking up when you never looked up before? But you always say, help. And trust me, you know that there's nobody hearing you in that earshot, but you're still looking up and saying, help. That is when the conversion takes place. That's Saul on the road to Damascus. In the twinkling of an eye. And we're asking you, JAH Foundation. JAH Foundation is leading the charge right now. And in the process of doing that, they're not only going to change our people's lives, they're going to change your life.
Trevor, it's funny you should mention that because Growing up in East Flatbush, you see a lot of things a lot of injustice, NYPD, they police
Yes,
brutality. We've all seen police brutality. We know what it looks like,
yes, yes.
And I wasn't a believer. I can tell you that. I wasn't a believer in God. I had doubts that how could there be a God and what could the people suffer like this, right?
You sound like
And
Dr. Claire Nelson. No, that's what she said. She could not believe it either.
yeah. And then I went to the journey. I was at Columbia University. Who tell me what business I think I have at Columbia because I wasn't in my plans. Nobody had that plan for me except God.
Yes.
So I was going to school one day and the school worker licked me now because Columbia looked for the next Nobel Peace Prize winner, So
Yes,
the
yes,
work is
yes.
done a thank you work, And the
Mm-hmm.
worker licked me, man. And I look up and say, boy, God, boy, if you can't give me this, boy.
You
Right?
believe?
And I'm not a man of God. I grew up in Christian at the Zorn Moravian Church. I knew I had the foundation.
Yes.
So then and then God said, okay, I'm gonna give you this, but don't forget. You understand me?
Yes. Don't forget.
So everybody have that talk with God. We all have that talk with God. Some of us ignore it,
But listen, we have all that.
God, if you deliver me from this. God said to me, don't forget. So you know what happened, Trevor? I never forget.
Yes.
But you know the beauty of this whole thing is, Trevor, is that I don't forget, and God said, don't forget,
Yes.
But if I put one cocoa in my basket,
It grow.
God put 10 more nights for me. I not
Yes.
ask. People look
Yes.
at me right now and they don't understand where this little boy from East Flatbush come from or from Christian and Manchester. They don't understand. But I know where my blessings come from.
Yes. That's why I say we're
And
farmers.
I'm as
Yes.
solid like the rock of Gibraltar. Them can't move me.
That's right. We're
You understand?
farmers.
I don't business who in power,
And
right?
and
I,
as a
I
matter
have
of
a mission to do, and that's what it's all about Jamaica. It's not about Jamaica orange or green. It's about Jamaica, and that's what I am about. And if you want to help me, you're my friend. If you
yes,
don't want to help me,
you're
you're not
my
my
friend.
friend. Because my goal is to help Jamaica.
You know.
Right.
I'm gonna tell I'm gonna tell you a little story, and I just sent it off to my tech team, and they said they're not gonna put it up on the Social Park television channel at all because this was about a saint or a sinner situation, where I grew up with my aunt, as I said in the story,
Mm.
and I enjoyed growing up with her because we traveled all over Jamaica. They were in the land, agriculture, land settlement business, so the transferring from parish to parish, among other things. So I enjoyed it. So I said to her, when she was, in her late 80s, I said, listen, when you pass this, I'm going to tell people about you. But she never trusted me. And she said, if you tell anybody anything about me, I'm going to get up and thump you. Anyway,
Humility, humility.
yes, anyway. So the time did come along, when, I found myself in the church over in Queens. And she used to be a teacher from Jamaica days and all the while she was in Queens, New York.
Mhm.
And everyone went up, Dr. Dixon, and they're saying, oh, your aunt, use her name, she was a saint. She
Mhm.
was a saint. And everyone, even people who never know her, went up and said, oh, she was a saint. And I'm sitting down there saying, oh my God, they're talking about my aunt, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I got prodded because I grew up with her, so I had to go up and speak. And when I went up there, I said, oh, I promised my aunt I would speak about her. And I'm listening to everyone speaking about her. So I said, my aunt, my aunt, I remember my aunt, I grew up with her. And then I remembered the story of Ananias. I said, so Ananias went to the temple and he spoke in the temple. And and then I remember what happened to Sapphira, so, his wife after she came by afterwards. And I said, So after I thought, I said, listen. And then I remembered that Jesus said he came to save sinners, not to save the saints. I said,
Mhm.
So I said, my heart was not a saint.
Right.
Well, my my brother was sitting there half asleep. He woke up right away. Oh, where's he going with this? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Her
yeah, yeah.
husband, he got up and walk out of the church. And you know, and my sisters would not speak to me at the repast.
Mhm.
Why you had to? I said, I remember that Jesus said he came to save sinners. I
Right,
want, okay, so not to save saints. And
right.
I really wanted I really wanted my heart to be saved, right?
Yeah,
So it was quite a conversation. As I say,
right,
it was an analytical situation for me.
right, right. Deeper than what people could see. Deeper than what
Yes,
people could see. Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
That
yeah.
she was that because I said that when she used to pray long, Lord, forgive me, Lord, forgive me. She was one of those when she started playing. I used to start sometime when you had worship, I would actually fall asleep while she was playing and they would hear me snoring.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So that's some of the things that we do
yeah,
and that people observe. They don't they don't sometimes get a chance to sit back and analyze it. And I'm so happy that not only are they able to look at you from across the world as we speak about the JAJA Foundation, but they can recognize themselves in you, you know?
yeah. Well, that's what it's all about. We're
Yes,
all just God molded all of us from
yes,
clay.
yes.
And
Reflection.
we all are made in His image. So we just have to just
Yes,
search deep within ourselves and reflect that image that we know what God would want us to be. And however you define God is up to you. I'm not here to define it, but is that inner soul that drives you and gives you peace, you know.
yes.
Um, so look, I'll just tell them briefly, the medical mission will begin next week, starting January 27th. We're starting, and everywhere that I go in Jamaica, it's a part of my journey. So I don't go anywhere by accident.
Right.
We're starting in a community in Kingston called Fletcher's Land.
Mm-hmm.
Fletcher's Land is a community in inner city. It's off it's off North Street.
Okay.
It's downtown. It's near to Kingston Public Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
The significance of that journey brought me to Fletcher. I don't go anywhere where I'm not wanted. Basically, Trevor.
Right.
I have to make sure that the need is there and the want is there. And
Yes.
when I grew up in East Flatbush, Trevor, I used to I love the music, and it brought me onto the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the streets that the music brought me onto was the number one music street back in the 80s in East Flatbush was Utica Avenue.
You to company and peoples and all those clubs along the
Utica,
side there.
Utica Avenue between Church and Linden Boulevard was the mecca of
Yes.
Kingston, Jamaica.
Yes.
And there were every music producer. If there were any music producers from New York, they were there. And we're talking about people like Joe Gibbs had a station
Mm-hmm.
there,
Mm-hmm.
had a representative there, his son Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
JAH, who
Mm-hmm.
later did a lot of tune for Barrington Levy. I know this thing, Trevor. I know this thing.
And
JAH,
the lines were long outside there on
yes.
early, okay?
On Saturday morning, this is before VP. When Miss Pat didn't even have VP, but she was one of the number one pressers. She used to press a lot of the songs from Jamaica. She used to press them on the Disco 45 here.
Yes.
So Utica Avenue, if you were into music, you come on Utica Avenue on Saturday morning to get all your records to play in those for
Mm-hmm.
those basement party later on at night.
Yes.
And I used to hang out with this guy named Whitty from a place called Music Masters.
Mm-hmm.
This is before Road International. Road International was hanging out at a place called Soul Heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is all on Utica between Church and Linden. And I
Mm-hmm.
used to hang out with Whitty, who was Music Master. He was from inner city Kingston. He was from Fletcher's Land.
Uh,
And this guy, Whitty, saw how much I loved the music.
mm-hmm.
But he also saw how I could also be misdirected by the music and the culture behind the music. So Whitfield Henry, called Whitty, he had a label called Music Master, and he had a direct link with Jammies, King Jammies in Kingston.
Uh-huh.
And Jammies had a direct link where all the songs that were made in Jamaica, Whitty would press them in the Disco 45 here, and of course sell them for $3.99 or $4.99, which would increase the value.
Mm-hmm.
Jamaican market was just too small. You understand?
Yes.
So Jammies and Whitty had a good connection, and Sling Ting, all those rhythm, Wayne
Mhm.
Smith, all those guys came out of Jammy's studio, and
Mhm.
Whitty had a direct link. So I was in the middle of it. I used to sell records in the record store, but Whitty saw how I could be led astray. And Whitty saw that I went to school and I was working in the bakery at St. Jago. And on
Mhm.
Saturday morning, I would come around to the record store and sell records. I was on trip from 64 to 13 years old.
Well, you see, you're a typical Jamaican that had 5 jobs. Only thing you only had 3 at that time.
That's right. Right. So Whitty is from Fletcher's Land. And to pay homage to those who have kept me safe along the journey. On Monday morning, we're going to Fletcher's Land, his community, it's an inner city community, and we'll be providing health care there. What are we talking about? We're doing dental care, cervical cancer screening for women, medical screening, information, giveaways. And that's going to be on Sunday morning, Monday morning at Fletcher's Land on the 27th. And then on the following day, the 28th, we're going to Gordon Town. You know where Gordon Town
Oh,
is.
yes.
We're going
Oh,
to the
yes.
Gordon Town Community Center, and we're going to be providing health services there, dental cleaning, dental extractions if necessary, medical care, cervical cancer screening. And when we say cervical cancer screening, we do the pap smear there on the spot. And those results are brought directly to the national lab where patients can find out very early. There's no backlog there, but they can find out if their pap smear is positive or negative. Besides breast cancer, cervical cancer is up there as the diseases that are killing our women in Jamaica. Breast cancer and cervical cancer. For men, it's prostate cancer,
Prostate cancer.
colon cancer. And for those who smoke, and even for those who don't smoke, it's lung cancer. So we are doing our part. We can't save everybody. We know that. We're just a small organization. If we had more support, obviously we could do a lot more. But for the time being, we're doing where God places us. That's where we are. And we're going there. On Wednesday, we're going to Mandeville at the Foster Barracks in Mandeville. What's the significance of the Foster Barracks? That's where our veterans are, Jamaica's veterans. The JDF at the headquarters there. And we're going to be doing the same thing we're going to be the dental care and medical screening for our veterans there. And we're happy that we're able to go back and give back to those gentlemen and women who have guarded the shores of Jamaica for so many years and make sure that we can provide medical care for them. That's Wednesday. And of course, we did our hurricane relief this year, hurricane barrier relief. We were blessed that we were able to send a 40-foot container down to Jamaica doing hurricane burial.
Yes.
Okay. And that container, we're going to convert that container into a safe haven for the homeless where they can come and get dental care and
Oh, beautiful.
medical care throughout the years. Okay. We met
Solutions.
we met one of those community officers who deal with the poor and the indigent. His name is Mr. Jermaine um, Porter. And Mr.
Mhm.
Jermaine Porter is leading that initiative so on Wednesday, the group was split up between Mandeville and Santa Cruz. And in Santa Cruz, we will be helping the homeless and those indigent folks doing dental care again and health screening for those people in those communities. That's Wednesday. Thursday, we're going to be heading to the Negril Community Center. And of course, people think about Negril, they think everybody in Negril is wealthy.
Oh,
They forget about those hotel workers who are on seasonal hotel workers, The
Mhm.
term seasonal, you know what that means, Trevor.
Yes.
That means for
Mhm.
3, 4 months out of the year, they have no work.
That's right.
And they
Right.
still have to provide for their family and kids. So we're going to take the burden of the dental care. And we've been going for a couple of years now where they don't have to worry about their funds, their little funds going towards dental care because dental care in Jamaica is expensive.
Oh, oh,
Okay.
oh, oh, oh.
So when we bring our dental care van out there and we identify that dental care is such a problem in Jamaica that we took one of our 40-foot containers over 4 years ago and we convert that into a dental suite. So we have 3 chairs in there. They can do extractions and we're trying to expand the services that we can do there through our fundraising dollars. We want to be able to extend to be able to do fillings and more than just right now we do cleanings and extraction, but we know that sometimes we want to be able to preserve some of these teeth, you know.
Yes, yes, yes,
So
yes.
So, you know, back in the days, dentist was fashionable. Not anymore. Nobody wants dentist.
Oh, talk about it.
So we're happy that we're able to provide this service where we can preserve people's teeth. And not only that, Mr. Smith, but we're going to be dedicating a dental suite on that day because it's complete now. It has air conditioning. So dentists
Oh,
are loving to come down there and work as a volunteer. We have a lot of volunteer dentists, about 8 of them.
good,
And and
good.
and and in that dedication service, we will do that on Saturday morning, dedicating a dental suite. And it's also a cervical center suite because we do cervical cancer screening on another half of that 40-foot container. We do cervical cancer screening. And in addition to that, as you know, you mentioned ambulance. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, about 2 years ago, we brought on our first ambulance to
Ah,
Jamaica.
mhm,
And it's a unique ambulance. And of course, you know, we're from the diaspora. We know we don't just give people ambulances. We make sure we follow it all the way through. So we're working, the JAH Foundation is working with the Jamaica's Fire Brigade.
ah,
And we have an ambulance that JAH Foundation is responsible for. We
ah,
maintain that ambulance. If it goes off road, we make sure we get it back online to serve the people of Jamaica. So we're working in conjunction with the fire brigade, where when they're on call, our JAJA Foundation volunteers are at the depot with them, doing first aid, doing CPR training with them. Whatever equipment they need, we try to source them from through the diaspora here. And of
mhm,
course, if Negril needs a stretcher, if Savlamar need a stretcher, we will know, and through the Judge Foundation, we can get them into the island and get it into the hands of the first responders who need these things. We're trying to avoid the red tape that exists. So we have our first ambulance that we bought several years ago. We got it in from Dubai, and that ambulance will be kicked off servicing the people of Western Jamaica, Westmoreland, Savlamar, Little London, Sheffield, you know, and you mentioned our sponsors. I want to big up the original dumpling shop on Baychester Avenue in the Bronx.
yes, yes.
Colin and his beautiful wife Susie, they came on board and saw what the Jada Foundation was doing. And they said, "No, sir, you doing this?
Mm-hmm.
We have to help you."
Well,
So
I used to advertise the original dumpling shop on my with Susie and my
yes,
radio
well,
program.
they're
Okay,
back and better. They
good.
have new location at 3435 Baychester Avenue. And
Close by the subway. Close by the subway.
right next to the sub. Oh, you know the ones, man.
Okay.
So let me tell you, that location there is prime location. Get ready
Yes.
to jump on the train. You get your dumpling, you get your fried fish, you get your
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
You're gonna. But anyway, they came on board, and Colin is from Hanover,
Mhm.
and he travels all over. He gets his breadfruits and everything from Jamaica. He
Yes.
supports the island.
Yes.
And in extension, he supported the Foundation and all our initiatives, the original dumpling shop. Not to
Yes.
be confused with any other dumpling shop in the Bronx, because there's a lot of
Right. Oh yes. Not to be confused.
the original dumpling shop on
You
Beatrice
know,
Avenue.
the ad I used to play for her was done by Richie Stevens. Okay.
Okay, okay, right. So you know,
Okay.
when
All
Mr.
right.
Richie, we don't say
Yeah.
you're the right. We know, it's a family, it's a family affair.
Okay. Right. So
Right.
so
So yeah,
so
so
we have friends in common. Okay.
yeah, I want to big up Colin and Susie because trust me, they came on board and they saw, and you know, even in the Bronx, you know, they do so much for the community there in the
Yes.
Bronx. You
Yes.
know, they're back to school, they're there. You know,
Yes.
they go to Jamaica, they're there. You know, so they're another God bless institution. I want to call them an institution because it's not just a dumpling shop, it's an institution.
Yes.
Thank them
Yes.
for coming on board and supporting and seeing the vision of the Jada Foundation. I want to thank Ms. Wendy Hart and the people of the American Friends of Jamaica for coming along and seeing the vision of the Jada Foundation. And I have to big up our shippers. I know you know a lot of shippers, Trevor.
Yes.
But I have to big up Transcarib Shipping in over there
Okay.
in Orange, New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
They came on board and they said, "No, sir, you shipping stuff to Jamaica?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they give us things for free. It's a
Mm-hmm.
small business, and then they can't give us things for free, and they give us a very minimal fee to pay."
Yes.
That container, the hurricane relief container we shipped to Jamaica,
Uh-huh.
Transcrib charge us nothing to ship it. And
And
Seaboard, who you know is a sea liner, they
yeah,
charge us $1 because of the taxes. They charge us $1 to ship all our stuff to Jamaica.
good. good.
Yeah. And US Customs, it said that the container says JAH Foundation on it.
Yeah.
US Customs said, no, sir, pull that off of the wall. Go check it. They check it
Mm-hmm.
inside out, upside down. They check that container, make sure everything that was on there
Was
was for hurricane.
gunshot
Right.
damage.
And they
And I
delayed it. Yeah.
and I don't want to forget that you did have a friend working at Home Depot.
Oh,
Oh, come on. I'm keeping up, you know.
yes. And this year, actually, 2025, we're going to be giving Tracy from Lowe's department store in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Tracy came on board, and Tracy, if it wasn't for Tracy, none of this would
Yeah.
happen. And she says to me, Dr. Dixon, do you know what I admire about you? I said, what is that? She says, when you come and you say you want Lowe's to help, you didn't just come here too long hands up.
That's
Right?
right.
Right. People think you just come here too long hands up, we just all give her things. You understand?
Tell me about it.
So Tracy said to me, she says, Trevor, she says, I can give you discount on a lot of stuff, but I can't give you anything for free.
Right.
So right before that, remember saying the hurricane hit July 3rd, the hurricane Beryl,
Mm-hmm.
savage St. Elizabeth and South Manchester and portions of Westmoreland, right?
Uh-huh.
And I said to myself, how am I gonna do this? And my cousin Junior bring me to Tracy and says, Tracy, and we had just had a fundraiser, we had just had a boat ride.
Mm-hmm.
And the funds from that boat ride we're supposed to go for the ambulance. We divert those funds. We spoke to the
Yes.
board, the Judge Foundation board. I don't function independently. I have a board. Make sure I don't go crazy.
Yeah.
And the board says, yes, you can take a significant portion of that and do hurricane relief for St. Elizabeth.
Yeah.
And besides giving hurricane relief, because remember it was September now, we prepared
Uh-huh.
back to school supplies, books, and everything for the kids. Why? So the parents don't have to worry about buying zinc or buying books for the kids to go to
Uh,
school, right? And we brought zinc, we bought plywood, nails, transformers, and we gave it to the major institutions in those areas, and we give it some of the local institutions in those areas. Hurricane relief. And that wasn't part of our plan. But to whom much is given, much is expected.
you
And
took the
I
two
do.
you took the 2 loaves and 5 fishes and
There you go.
okay.
And Tracy transformed. So this is other gala. We're gonna be honoring Tracy. She doesn't know that yet. But if she watches this, everybody watch this. Tracy from Lowe's in downtown Brooklyn, right?
Well, I, I wanted to slap Home Depot since they never contributed. That's why I mentioned them so you could talk about Lowe's.
No, 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 no. Lowe's is a champion, is a quiet champion in the community. Okay.
Okay.
Home Depot wasn't friendly to us, but
That's
Lowe's
well.
department store
Tell
was
me about it.
was very friendly to us, and they gave us more, as you said.
You know,
What,
I
what
am
two
so
fish,
I am so born, so I cut the fat.
two fish and
I
five
get down
loaves.
to
They,
the,
they
I
give.
get down to I get down to the bone. Okay.
Trevor, let me tell you, we fed 5,000. Okay, and let me tell you, we're still working in Jamaica. Okay, we're still rebuilding some of those homes. Okay,
Uh-huh.
they're not the most grandest homes you can ever see, but guess what? It's somebody's home. And when
Uh-huh.
somebody's home has been destroyed, and they said, I don't want anything fancy. Just build back what I had. Just build it back better for me. So they may look like board homes to many people,
Right.
but these are people's homes who can
Yes.
be protected from the elements.
Yes.
And we said, no, man, this guy deserves, we have to put like a bathroom on the inside because he had to walk another 50 feet for his bathroom. Can we just
Mhm.
put the bathroom on the property? He says, yeah, we can do that. So as
Yes.
we speak, Trevor, those projects are happening. And
Mhm.
we know there's a lot of scam artists out there. So if you visit the JAH Foundation YouTube channel,
Yes.
you can see the people who have been impacted by the benefits from the goodwill of the JAH Foundation. You can
And
visit us, as you can say, JAH
yes.
Foundation.org. Go on YouTube, and I guarantee you have more videos than you have time to watch because we believe the proof is in the pudding. And we believe in real work, not chatting. So you can go there and see the work of the judge. Don't take my word for it. And I always tell people, Trevor, if you don't ask me what I do for Jamaica, go to these communities and ask them what the impact, what has JAH Foundation done for them? Because I can't tell you anything.
Right. That's
We can't
right.
sit there and tell you anything.
That's
But
right. Because
we've got the gift for gab.
and we know that, when you say something, it's one and one. They say a picture used to be 1,000 words. We used to hear that, but when you talk about a video,
Uh-huh.
we're talking about
Yeah, man.
outreach, we're talking
Yeah,
about scattering information.
yeah.
Okay, yes, there's some people who is going to fall on, as we said, on stony ground. So for some people, they're going to be the water that it falls into, but for some,
The
it's going to
soil.
fall on fertile soil.
Yes, yes, Trevor.
Okay,
Yeah.
fertile soil.
Yes, and the last day of our mission on a Friday, we're going to be at the Savlamar Basic and Infant School there in Savlamar. So
Okay.
we travel the entire island. Usually we go to Trelawney, we go to Ocean Spring, Trelawney. This year we can't go. We've been to Chantilly, we've been to other places, but we try to make it, everyone get a taste of the JAH Foundation. Where we go is only where God sent us. We only go where God sent us. That's the only place we go. And we're JAH Foundation, Jamaicans abroad helping Jamaicans at home. JAH.
Yes. And I'm going to say this, that we have so many of our people who are looking for a safe place, where they can invest their interest, a safe place, and you have it in the JAH Foundation. Not only that, but it's in a couple of months, April to be exact, it's going to be tax paying time in the United States.
Oh, yes.
The federal government allows you as an individual, when you're filing your taxes, to donate $300 to a nonprofit organization, and you can take it off your tax return. Listen to me. When you send $300 to the JAH Foundation, it is not your money you're sending. You're sending Uncle Sam's money.
Yes.
And Uncle Sam is begging you,
Yeah.
please take their money, send it to the JAH Foundation.
Right.
Please take your money. They pass laws. They make it legal for you to take at least $300 and send it to the JAH Foundation to help our people in Jamaica. So when you're filing your income tax, tell your accountant that you want to make a contribution to the JAH Foundation. Give him the receipt after you make the contribution.
Right.
Okay, so you can put it and deduct it from the amount of money you have to pay for taxes. Okay.
Trevor, it's important that I mention some of our supporters. Like every year we have these galas, and at the gala we do some fundraising.
Yes.
And let me tell you, there are doctors, there are lawyers, Indian chief, everybody that are fundraiser, right? And I'm always surprised to see the kind-hearted folks who
Yes.
donate to the JAH Foundation. It's not always the doctors.
No,
I'm
no.
surprised.
It's pretty seas all over the world,
It's not always the doctors that support us.
Yeah.
If you see the folks who support us, some of the nurses that they take
Mm.
and what they give, you're humbled to know that somebody understands and gets it. They get it.
Yes.
So we're asking folks, those folks who get it, and talk to God and ask him if this is the right thing for you to do. Because he answers. He answers. And we are the JAH Foundation. JAH Foundation. Whatever that means to you. To the Rasta man, JAH means God.
Yes.
To some it means Jehovah. But I didn't choose the name. Some people said, oh, you come with that name, JAH Foundation, man.
Well, it's like Patrick Boddington said to me, Trevor, where you come up with the name so born.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna make one other appeal to our people out there. Many of you are insured. You have an insurance policy, and many of you also have estates, and you might not know to whom you're going to leave it because you have no heirs, you have no family or anybody that you can think of. If you want to build a legacy, put the JAH Foundation down as your beneficiary. Listen to me, people. Put the JAH Foundation down as your beneficiary, so that if by accident or because God love you so much and call you early because you want to come spend more time with him, you have to go. Behind you will leave a legacy that represents your interest and your kindness in supporting those who need help even as you're gone. Okay, so again, the number scrolling across your screen, that is the contact number for the JAH Foundation for Dr. Dixon, as well as the website is scrolling across your screen, as well as an email address scrolling across your screen. From this, you can make peace with your community. You can support your community, not only when you're sitting here, but even when you are gone.
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Dixon, for your final wrap-up for our viewers.
Yeah, as you mentioned before, I think that's an important point. I mean, Dr. Karen Dunkley, which I'm sure you're familiar with,
Very much.
he always preached about that paying forward, that legacy and how can you really, let your legacy live on. And you beat me to it.
Okay.
But there's nothing more to say. All I'm saying is, Mr. Trevor Smith, thank you for having me here. Thank you for seeing what not everybody sees what you see. So thank you for really understanding what we try to do here at the JAH Foundation, because you called me, and it's hard for me to call some of these mediums to say, can I tell my story? But you made it easy for me because I'm a shy guy by nature. I went to medical school thinking I didn't want to bother people. I'm begging for anything. And that's why I said I'm going to go to medical school to be a doctor so I don't have to beg the rest of my life. And it turns out I'm still begging. So, and I'm begging for Jamaica. So,
Yes.
so thank you for making it easy for me to tell my story so others can not just be inspired, but some folks who have the funds can just give a little bit out of their kitty to help those in Jamaica. I know there's a lot of scammers out there, and people are afraid to give because they don't know where the money's going. They have doubts. But visit the webpage, jahfoundation.org. I say go on the YouTube videos, and we have maybe 60 videos throughout the years, not just today. We have a long history of trying to help those less fortunate in Jamaica. Others have bought into us. Sosa Bonus bought into us. American Friends of Jamaica has bought into us. Team Jamaica Bickle has bought into us. UJA, Union of Jamaican Alumni Association, has bought into us. Jamaica's public hospitals have bought into us. We have a big conference coming up with Jamaica's public hospital Monday and Tuesday while everything else is going on. Their doctor is going to be still learning butterfly training. Okay, the obstetrician now. We're not just doing emergency rooms anymore. The OB doctors, the one who deliver the babies. Maternal death is a big problem in Jamaica. Now the doctors who do maternal fetal medicine in Jamaica, they'll come on board and they'll be at the conference. So much thing to say, as Bob Marley say.
Yes.
So much things to say, but I'm going to stop and end it right here. And thank you, Mr. Trevor Smith, for having the vision and for having the guidance to have me to tell my story. And thank you for so much you've done in the community. I know many of time I've called on your organization that you've represented throughout the years,
Yes.
asked for a donation, and you've come through. So thank you. Claudia Powell mentioned you highly.
Oh, yes.
Andrea from out of T Jamaica, Bickle, Erwin Clear, they all speak highly of you. So, thank you so much for being who you are.
Thank you for being here, and to our viewers, accept this as a gift from Dr. Trevor Dixon of the JAH Foundation. Thank you so much, and God bless you for all you do. Thank you.
And I always say, one love, JAH Foundation.
Thank you.
All right.